So, back to the Love at Last campaign. It actually got me thinking how specific your choice is actually to where you live. Ooh. So it was easy for me to pick the 150. It was sort of quite obvious because of where I live. I think like 150 is almost at the outer limit of what you need, really.
Okay.
I think in the Surrey Hills, and it got me thinking a little bit of like how we all focus in the bike industry. I feel like on what the best bike is or whatever.
Yeah.
All focus. I actually didn't mean to do that.
It was good though. Anyway,
thank you.
Keep focused.
But we do all focus very, very heavily on like what the current thing is, whereas actually for every single place, whether you live like even from your place to my place, there'll be like these like unique and different things that would actually affect a choice, like a ideal setup. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, totally. I think people used to often think about it, you know, with downhill bikes, especially. I know when I was growing, it's like everyone wanted a downhill bike, but didn't really know why they needed a downhill bike. It's because you wanted a downhill bike, and they were cool, and they were big and burly, and had loads of travel and stuff. And I agree. Like if you really think about it, and you become maybe a little bit more serious about biking, trying to choose that right bike for where you live. But then the other side of that is also people now are investing quite a lot into experiences and going away. And there's probably nothing worse than booking a trip to go to. Actually, it's a good example. Let's say you live in Surrey, and then you're coming up to the Peak District. Maybe you need a bit more travel up here. Maybe. Is that fair to say? And then,
I hear you.
Or you're going to New Zealand. Let's just like go totally different. But you're going to like skyline New Zealand, and you're going to need a burlier bike, but you don't have it. So maybe buying for your area is one thing, but also thinking about where you would ideally want to ride. Or every month you're going to go to a bike park, for example, and your little 130 isn't going to cut it. So yeah, I think there's a fine balance of finding the right bike for you. Definitely.
I just think you can't go wrong with a 150.
I agree.
Because I still use mine as a cross-country bike. Like a 150 to me is just like... And you can have 160 up front, 150 rear. Like you can still go away on it, and it's not like you're out. Yeah. Really out.
And I think when you look at the whole movement now of, you know, one bike for doing the odd downhill or hitting some jumps, it seems to be a 150 seems to be pretty much everyone's go-to, would you say? I'm really not a geek about this stuff. I'm really not. Like, I don't really think about it or anything. But I know the Sam Squared e-bike I had before the Jam Squared, that was obviously a little bit more. I guess that would have been a 170, I think. It was a little bit lighter as well because it's the older model with the smaller battery. But that felt good up here because some of the stuff that you do ride is quite rocky and, you know, a little bit faster maybe as well in places. So, but 150 just seems to be... I wouldn't go any less than 150, and I probably wouldn't go any higher than 160.
See, I reckon I reckon that's the difference. So, like... Yeah. I think that I probably could go lower and get away with it easy in these tiny hills we got. Yeah. You know, and then you could get... I mean, what are you talking about? Like, that's what I kind of like question is like, what am I talking? So let's say, for instance, we made like a Surrey Hills bike and a Peak District bike. Yeah. What they would actually look like, whether the Surrey Hills bike is, there's always going to be like a kind of trade-off, isn't there? There's going to be like positives and negatives to every single thing that you do to a bike. So whether if I could get my Jam and I could maybe make, I reckon 150 could be on the outer edge of how much travel you need, and maybe I'd get away with actually with a 29-inch wheel, maybe I'd get away with the 130 or 140. Yeah. But what is the actual difference? You know? Yeah. Like, what am I gaining by?
I think I'd love to do a test and just see what it actually feels like, because I think for me, I've never done it back to back or even within the same year of changing between them a lot of the time. And I'm really, you know, openly not a bike geek about that stuff. I like to think I'll just ride whatever. Like, I don't really care that much, but I don't know if being on a 140 would change that much for me. No, I really don't think it would. As long as
140, 150,
as long as the angles were some like similar. Do you know what I mean? Because I
think
remember...
that's what that's kind of what we talk about, isn't it? When we talk about the suspension travel, we're not really talking specifically only about that 10 millimeters of difference. I think what you're sort of saying is like a 140 tends to be less aggressive than a 170.
I was just thinking actually about, I had the Focus Tron.
Tron.
Tron? Is it Tron?
Yeah, Tron, yeah.
Yeah.
Tron.
I think it's Tron, because Tron's the movie, right?
But I think you say it like Tron. Like
there you go.
Pronunciation,
okay.
I think.
So I had one of those, and that was obviously a little bit steeper, and that is actually the one time where I've gone, this maybe isn't the bike for me. Maybe it's like
interesting,
that, and I rode it. I only rode it a couple of times. I rode it at this place called Parkwood Springs, sort of like some man-made. When I say man-made, I mean like they're sort of like more a bike parky, and I remember thinking, maybe this isn't for me. Like, I don't like it. It's just a little bit too steep. It's a little bit more leaning towards an XC bike for me.
Interesting.
So that is actually, I forgot about that I had that bike for. I only had it for a little bit, but I do remember thinking like,
that was less travel, wasn't it?
Yeah, less travel. That'll be a 140, I think.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I wish I was better at this stuff. I genuinely do think I really wish, but I think the only way to probably get better is to ride them all in quite like succession. Quick succession, and just go and do a run on one. Right, what was that like? How did that feel?
And pay attention to the numbers and the differences as well. Like, it does take a while for sure, doesn't it? To actually like, the frustrating thing about testing products is that, like, I feel like being adaptive is a really useful thing, but also being adaptive means that you can quickly adjust to small things, which means that a couple of things might get lost when you quickly adjust.
Right.
You might not notice that, like, the front seat does seem to be pushing a bit, or whatever it is, whatever your feedback might be, you might like miss it if you're adaptive.
It's hard, that whole testing thing, man. That is a
really
science, that stuff. Yeah, especially I always think that even with like downhill and stuff, you're running the same track every time, so you're getting faster naturally anyway, because you start learning where things are, where to push, where to hold back. I don't know. I'd love to go and actually experience one of those like testing days a little bit, because I would be interested to see how. Because sort of naturally through the day you're going to get faster, but then if you're changing the bike, it's going to. I don't know. I'd be interested to see like what factors in going faster. Is it just learning the track and stuff like that, or is it other stuff? I don't know. Be interested to do that.
Something feeling faster and something being faster, which are two different things as well.
True. Very true.
Can I talk you through my choice as well?
Please. Yeah, we keep going all over the place from this campaign.
No,
but it's kind of perfect.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
And it is good. So I chose that. So basically, I had the carbon version in my options as well.
Right.
And I chose that because for me, a 150 e-bike is like. That's like your daily driver through the hardest months of winter. So, and it's going to get chucked in the back of a van, and it's going to be like, I don't want her to hear, but a bit of a beater, you know? You're going to really like, you're going to be ploughing through mud. You're going to be doing relentless laps. So my choice to go for that one was that 150 over 170. I just felt like 150 at home is just for all the reasons we've just covered. But I thought it'd be cool to ask you, if you were in the dating show, what out of those three bikes? So you've got the Jam Squared, 150mm aluminium, Bosch motor, 29er, or you've got the Sam Squared, 170mm travel, or it might even be 180mm travel, bigger travel, again Bosch, so it's essentially the same, just some slightly different angles and more travel. Or you've got the carbon version of this one here, which is flashier, lighter, but it's the same bike as this basically.
Okay,
so it's just a carbon version of this. Which would be yours, and what questions would you ask? I'm really putting you on the spot here. What questions would you ask your date? Like, what specific things would you identify? What
I like it. Okay, so obviously number one thing, How much is it?
Okay, but you're right. That is
be real. It is a consideration, right?
Yeah.
Cost of living crisis and stuff like that. At the moment, it's like, right, what am I getting for my money, etc. So yeah, that's one thing I'd be looking at. I have looked through obviously all of the ones that they've just released, and I really I'd go Jam Squared, and I'd go. Oh man, I want to pick the same as you.
Would you go carbon? Would you pick the same as me? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to. So I'd go.
All right.
Okay, I'd go.
Yeah, because we might
Jam
end
Squared.
up in a love triangle.
Exactly, and we'd be sharing, and it'd get messy. So I'd go Jam Squared. So they do one which is the 6.8, which retails at £5,700, which is still a lot of money, but it's reasonable for what you're going to get. You're going to get the Bosch motor. You're going to get the what is now a 750 watt, right?
I mean, that goes for so long.
You're getting a lot. You're getting the Fox 36s, which are, float DPS rear shock. You're getting a good spec, basically.
Yeah.
I like that it would have the regular gears, as in like with a cable, because that is one thing that I've been quite honest about, is that I do not like. It's great. Yeah. People love it. People are like, oh, what's it like having the, what's it called? The Axis. Lecky gears. But it is a thing that it's there, especially when you're riding in rocky stuff all the time. For me, like, just being honest, like I don't like that it's there, doubt, and I'm waiting for it to get smashed off, and I'm waiting to have to buy another one. It's terrifying. So yeah, just go like standard for me, dude. I go like middle spec.
Yeah.
Sort of like just what's the word? Reliable. I go like reliable, like not over the top, just reliable, good quality spec, nice colour option, because colour's quite important for me. I am that guy sometimes. So in that 6.8, they do a nice like stone blue and the slate grey. Really like that one. Big fan of that. And what sort of questions would I ask it? I would be asking for reliability. Are you going to show up on time? Are you going to be there when I need you? The answer's probably going to be yes with one of these bikes. They're a very high quality bicycle. I'd be asking it, do you like turning quick corners? I'd be asking it that. Do you like to turn
for quick corners? Yeah,
I want
corners.
Like quick corner. I want tight corners. I'd be asking it that. You have put me on the spot here a little bit.
Maneuverability. No, I have.
Maneuverability.
I'm trying to think of other things like to do with the peaks. Well, this is a little bit what it was like, because like when we were shooting it, it was almost like you had to think. Obviously, you want it to be funny to imagine it was a human, because that is the humour is in the fact that it's a dating show, but with a bike the other side. So you're trying to make links between humans and the bike. So a question that you can ask, like the one about scratches is a bit like,
that's a good one,
tongue in cheek. Yeah, I didn't make it up.
Okay,
but it was. I'm not claiming it, but like
it's a good one.
It is really difficult, isn't it, to do one that's both and it's not so deeply offensive.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'd obviously be asking if it doesn't mind cold weather, hot or cold weather, but obviously the bike's going to be fine. I want it to be spontaneous. Can I just grab it, go for a ride? And that also falls into reliability, right? I just want it to be reliable. I don't want to always be looking for fucking parts trying to fix this thing. I want it just to be reliable, spontaneous. I want to know that I can ask that thing, do you want to go for a 2-hour ride in 2 minutes time? Yes. Mm-hmm. And I want to grab it and I want to go.
Mm-hmm. So you and I are on the same bike, basically.
I think we would be, but we're similar, aren't we, in that respect, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not like we've got XC guy and, downhill guy talking. Like, we are quite similar, but I think that's what I'd go for. I'd just go mid-spec, Jam Squared, 6.8, good price. You've got the same battery as the one you've got. A very similar spec as well.
A lot of, but I'm sure a lot of people that would probably go for the carbon version, wouldn't they? Fancy people, and people that fettle their bikes a lot.
Definitely.
Whereas I feel like you and I are both people that are just like,
I want reliability.
You will get washed, but you won't get washed every time.
Exactly. No, you're right, mate. You're right, and I think that's one thing that it's one of the elements I really don't like about biking in a way, is that like we were talking about, of like what bike's right for you in your location, not which is the most expensive bike I can get for the least amount of money that looks nicest on the top of the car, so that everyone's going to be jealous of. Like that's not it for me at all. And I think there's more consideration when it comes to buying a bike, and Yeah, I think,
and there's not just an answer. That's what I think is gets lost sometimes, because there's not just an answer. Like it does completely depend, and it doesn't have to just be like the most expensive bike wins.
No,
like you have to. If you actually think about what you ride percentage wise,
you know what?
If you go to the Alps once a year, what's the point in dragging around extra travel?
Dude, for sure. You know what? And before my involvement with Focus and stuff, and I was doing these behind the bike series things, I had a what do they call it? A Caliber Boss Nut, 999 quid, right? And it was the most fun thing ever. Because there's a few elements came into play. Not saying you didn't care about it, but £1,000 bike is obviously a lower than.
You're joyriding, weren't you?
Yeah, basically, you just like it's a cheaper bike, but it withheld it, man. And the thing is with biking is you can go out and you can have the same amount of fun on a £1,000 bike as someone on a 10 grand bike. You can have the same day, the exact same thing, and that's really cool. So yeah, that's again all going back into why I just go like mid spec, reliability, all good. But I think one thing just to plug in here. If anyone wants to have a go at this little game that we've just played, trying to find out what the best bike is for you, if you go to the Focus website, you can play the game and go through all the questions you asked, and then it will tell you at the end of it what is your preferred bike. And I did it.
Done it yet?
Yeah, I did it earlier, and actually, shit, I forgot I'd even done it. So yeah, I did it earlier, and the Sam Squared came out as my perfect bike.
Did it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
so you're actually going against the.
I am. But yeah, I did it earlier and the Sam Squared came out. But it's a really good thing to do. So if you go over there, and also what's really cool is it will allow you to set up a first date. So you could go through, find the bike that you like, or that it thinks you like, your preferred bike, and then you can find your local Focus dealer and actually go for a ride on one.
That's really cool, isn't it?
That's cool, that. Yeah, I found that really hilarious. Good, I was like, that's so clever. Like, what an amazing, again, coming back to the marketing side of it, what a great idea and a great concept. So you're happy on yours?
Oh, mate, I'm well happy on mine. I always get to a point, like, when new bikes come out, I get real... Oh, it sounds stupid, but with an e-bike, it's like it's been on a journey with you through the winter. You know, it's just been beating through ponds and mud and like by the end of the year, it's beaten up and it's had a hard time, but I never really want to get rid of my bikes and get a new one, because I feel like we've been through something together.
That's really
all cool. Of these things really make me laugh because they do sort of apply to the campaign, and I do feel that way. I'm not someone who wants new stuff all the time at all. I actually really like old stuff and having it for ages
and being comfortable and really knitting with
knowing
it.
Where you're at.
Yeah,
I mean, even like knowing how, you know, when you have a bike, it's one thing like having it until pivot bearings wear out and then getting a new one, or just even like replacing them and knowing how to replace them, and then understanding the bike that little bit more, and like it's the same with the car. Like you learn how to change like a.
Do you think the e-bikes add a bit more to that though? Because you know that sort of maintenance can be a little bit above people's like basic knowledge of bike maintenance. Would you agree? Or
so do you mean in terms of like motor stuff?
Yeah, like if anything goes, you get an error code at some point or whatever. Like I agree with you that it is good to go on that journey and learn how it all works and be able to replace bearings and stuff like that. But I think that this is no dig at anyone at all, but like the e-bike just adds that extra element where you just like, I don't really want to touch that. Like I don't know if I want to be taking the battery out or doing anything. It can void warranty and stuff like that. So yeah. Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type the Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!